And this is Lisa Voss again, and we're welcoming James Purtzer from Lincoln's Lefler Middle School with an intro to Animoto, and I've definitely used that and really enjoyed it, so I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. So we'll get started with Animoto Intro by James Purtzer.
Hello everybody, I'm James Purtzer. I'm the teacher librarian for Lefler Middle School. Happy last day of school for any LPS teachers. I like Animoto for two reasons. The EDU account has enough useful features for quick slideshows once you know about the constraints for creating. And once it's rendered, it's already shared on the sites, which I really like because working with video can be kind of unwieldy. It's hard to email people 500 megabyte files, especially if they're on a list. And you know, you can sneak your net things around with a flash drive, but that doesn't work as well when you're trying to share it with multiple people that are not outside your location. So let's go through a few of the features here. The first trick, I originally made this for an EDU kind of customer, some other librarians that were at my school, in my school group of middle school librarians. So the trick is to find their Animoto Ed site, which is kind of buried at the bottom of their page. And I put a big arrow here, and there's a education link there, if you can get there. Once you have an education account, it lasts about 6 months, but it can be renewed for free, and the videos don't get deleted. And of course, you need to have an account so that you can save your work. The education site, if you're successful, has this cute boy in a bow tie there in front of a blackboard. It bumps your account up from 30 seconds to 10-minute long videos, and you can make an unlimited number as far as I can tell. The EDU version mimics the Plus version, which is $30 a year, $5 a month, if you don't have access to a EDU license. There's a Pro version too that has all the bells and whistles, which aren't a lot more, but you get unlimited use of all of their pre-made titles and things. But it's $250 a year, so I think you can do a lot of things with this EDU account, or if you had to pay the $30 a year, that wouldn't be too bad. Okay, if you open up the home screen, it looks like this minus some of my extra arrows. Your projects show up in a kind of a little thumbnail view, and like here's one project I was working on that has 3 different versions, and here's one that I was editing that was the sample museum project that I used for the presentation. Should show your username there once you're in. You click on this create button to get started. That lets you pick a theme. You have to choose themes carefully. Some are really busy for information slides. The themes come with a default song, and it's important to decide what song you pick because the song will influence how long the slides appear. So just by choosing different music, you can kind of influence the pace of the default pace of the slideshow, and I'll show you how you can tweak that should you like that better. When you start up a project, it starts with themes, and it only shows you 4 or 5 themes. So there's a couple popular ones, and then if you notice my arrow, big arrow here that shows all, if you click on all, that will bring up the rest of them. The only problem with the rest of them is some of them are Pro and Pro exclusive, so they have a little kind of icon next to them that show, and it'll warn you when you try to use one that's one of the Pro themes. But there's enough useful themes in there that you can see. You have some choices. Here's what the actual default edit screen looks like. There is lots of controls, and they're kind of scattered all over the place. There's kind of the normal place you might see them here in this left menu bar. There's one kind of hidden in here by the Museum Animoto, and there's another one that duplicates it called Settings, and there's another hidden one here that's this little gear thing. And you can also click on this song title to change this. This shows you your default slide layout. Videos have kind of a little time, how many seconds each video is. These are text slides, and these are picture slides. You can add text, pictures, and video, but there's some limitations. You can only choose 10 seconds of video, and if you upload a longer clip, it's a little hard to see here, but you can see a they'll have a little slider here, and you have to actually select which 10 seconds of your longer clip you want. And I suppose if you really wanted to string them together, you could string together the video clips one slide after another and try to get it to play your whole video. But once again, it's kind of designed for quick, fast video creation, and they think that you're only going to want quick hits of video. The texts are similarly limited. You only have 40 characters on the first line, and you only have 50 characters on the second line, so you really have to string slides together. We did a book trailer for one of the projects for one of my library classes, and until I thought of the great idea of just adding as many slides as I needed, I was sitting there carefully trying to craft and reword each slide so I didn't use as many slides, but I could get my thought across, and so we spent way too much time kind of rewording things to get around the 40 characters and the 50 character limits. On a positive side, the transitions and the rendering of the videos go together very quickly. You can drag photos into the slides from iPhoto directly, which is kind of handy if you're using a Macintosh iOS operating system. And since if you've kind of got your slides organized in iPhoto, it kind of makes it quick to put them together. But you can also import them different ways too. I just thought that was the easiest way to drag them in there, was you can drag them right from iPhoto directly into your slide thing. This one you have to choose it. If you click on this title thing or on the settings, it actually brings up this thumbnail, which is kind of useful for your icon if you can kind of remember what you were videoing. You can choose any of your video thumbnails, any of your slides that you've picked. So it can be the title, it can be a picture. It's kind of handy to have that access to that so that you can see what you picked. There's your video title, your producer, your date, and then a quick example how-to for Animoto description. This was the one that I wish I could have found a lot earlier. I found this about 10 or 15 Animoto videos into my journey here. This little tiny gear icon that's on the main video editing page lets you edit the song pacing and lets you edit the image pacing. So if you're not time limited, you are limited by the end of how long your song is. So if your song is 3 minutes and 46 seconds, your presentation is also 3 minutes and 46 seconds. If you want to change that, you can switch this image pacing to auto, and it will let you put more slides in to fit your song, but you are limited to having one song only when you're in the EDU or the Plus account. The Pro version lets you put multiple songs in there. I suppose that removes your limitation. So if you want a longer video, you might have to find a longer song. And if you want to just use one song, you could switch this image pacing to auto, and it will cram however many slides you put. It will adjust the pacing. If you do have a longer song and you want to put more slides in there, you want to change the image pacing for information dense slides or something, you can adjust the slider. And if you run out of songs, or sorry, one other caveat, if you go over your song limit, it will kind of cut your slides off if you don't change this image pacing to auto. And so you'll have to take all the slides that you have and try to fit them back in there if you're on manual and you run out of time on your song. Preview is kind of a rough web quality, just check the timing and see what it looks like with all the transitions and everything. Make sure you change this title to something else besides sample or Animoto video, whatever the default ones. It will probably skip and stutter depending on how fast your connection is. Don't be alarmed. It will actually put that in there when it renders it. The only way you can really get it to get on to editing is to actually get on to rendering is to go from the preview view window, bring that up, and then tell it you want to skip and produce. And if you skip and produce, then it will it'll render the video, and then you can actually download the video. Another dodge that we talked about in class was pasting an image for credits. Since the text limits 40 and 50 characters don't give you much time if you want to put your photo credits in there that have long web links, or because I know you guys are being good followers of copyright, make sure that you we commonly make one in some image editing program or even a Word file and just save it as an image so that you can stick it in your video, and so that you're kind of have covered some of your copyright responsibilities. And this kind of gets you around from having your text limits or 40 or 90 characters. This lets you get around that by just putting in a picture of your credits. There are quite a few options once you are ready to download it, embed it, or use. You can share it on Facebook, tweet it, link it, embed it. There's puts a little box of the code, which is a nice link, and I've actually stuck these in my web page, my home video page for my, sorry, I can't speak. My home page for my library site has an embedded video which had sort of intro to how to use the library, and so this is kind of handy that it generates the code for you, and you just have to go into your web HTML editor and paste that in there. Also, you can download it as a 360 progressive file. Here's the download screen. I really only use this 360p progressive file, but it seems to work pretty good. It makes about a quarter screen video, and I've been tempted to try this upgrade to see what the video looks like on the higher resolutions, but I haven't actually got to do that yet. I haven't had anything that worthy to put on high def. The other thing that's a little clunky on it is editing a finished video on your home screen where it shows my videos. You have to click on this little gear, little kind of hidden gear thing again, and it will reopen. It will take your file that you previously rendered and unrender it or split it back out so that you have the kind of exact copy that you had before. You rendered it, put all the slides out on the different cards, and break up all your video and text slides, and let you edit it again. So I was really confused about how you got back into a regular slide presentation. So once you have this rendered and done, just click on that little gear, and that will get you back to the editing screen. And then I'll show you this next thing here. So I type in version 1, 2, or 3, kind of like I did with this ABC Lou video, to edit out the progress with numbers. Then I do a final one at the end, and I kind of go back and clean them up. I do like to render along the way because it kind of saves my work. And if you haven't rendered one, it will say, it'll just have a nice green screen here, and it'll say continue editing, and it's slightly quicker to get back into it, but it seems like it's safer if you have several versions of it online. There is a good FAQ on their help site, and tells you more things about copyrights, downloading, watching, and sharing, technical issues, adjusting the speed, things that other things that I've covered in here. I have two example movies that you can check out. The first one has kind of a slow classical piano soundtrack, and you can see that it's a lot, and the theme that I picked on it is a lot easier to follow. I didn't think I could show live themes on here. I could try. I'll try doing that at the end and see if that works. But I thought I'd better go static for this first one. But there's two videos here that you can link to that are in the presentation here. This one's kind of what I thought was a clearer style and slow music, so it's easier to read the slides. This is the same content in a kind of a more distracting style. And all I did really was switch the theme in the song, and it does markedly change the way the presentation looks and how it comes across. All right, I have some time for questions. If anybody has any questions about it, let me know, and I'll exit out of here. And you can email me if you stump me, and I'll email you back.
Who was there when my daughter went there? I have to ask her.
Okay, we're muted. Okay, thanks, James. Anybody have any questions about using Animoto or making videos or anything? Type in the questions section here, and we'll pass on your questions. Anybody have any questions? I know I've had, I know, listen, you said you've used it?
I did. I experimented with it when I was finishing my degree and had, and a couple of times, I think in 2 different classes we used it. And it is amazing what you can create, but if I wish I had had this tutorial before I started, because I kept thinking, oh yeah, I did that.
Kind of flailing around a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's a nice tool, but like I said, they kind of change where they put stuff on the page, and it's a nice layout. And once you're used to it, it's fine. But when you're kind of new to it, it's sort of like, how do I change these things? And things that are very important, like slide pacing, are kind of hidden in the tool.
Yeah. Now, I didn't notice you. Do you have the students make their own?
Oh yeah, sure.
Or, yeah.
Yeah, the kids can make their own. I have to, like I said, it's kind of tricky to set up accounts to have students use it, but they would have to have, I would have to set up some org accounts for them to use. They're kind of getting a little grumpy about some of them because, of course, some people try to avoid, I just got an email from them and they were, Animoto doesn't want you to, create multiple accounts from the same person just to avoid, the fees. Because you can use one for a trial, like people were kind of abusing their trials. But the EDU one is worked for 6 months, and I think if you're doing one for like a public library or something, I'm sure maybe an org account would probably get you an EDU account too. An EDU account that you could use. But I mean, it's a nominal. If I had to pay the $30, that isn't terrible. But
yeah,
the kids have had fun making them.
Actually, since we have some time, do you have one that you can show us a little bit of one of them? You should be able to show one of your.
Yeah, let me see. I'll see if this plays. I wasn't sure if the webinar would actually do that.
Yeah, the video is coming through. I don't hear the sound though. That's all. But
okay,
it's coming through pretty good. The video, yeah.
So this was supposedly the clearer one that's a little slower. It takes the pacing a little better.
So this one you just have some song that you picked and put as the background music?
Yeah, I just put a kind of a slow classical song in there, and it slows the pacing of the slides down, and that lets you see it a lot easier. You have time to read the quotes and that kind of stuff. And like I said, you kind of have to, it's easy to switch the themes out if you want to see which one, if you want to try that. The kids like the futuristic one, but, so there'd be an example of how you miss out on the, and there would be one with the credits on a JPEG. Okay, here's the one that's, I thought, it's the same content, different theme.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Cool.
So there's where you have to kind of tailor it. It's kind of harder to read the captions on those, and the pictures are smaller because it's doing more fun animation things along the way.
Right. I can see how you'd want to
But like I said, the kids really like that one. They like the techno one better. This has got a fun little techno music track on it.
Yeah. I can see how you'd want to experiment with different themes to see which one works best for what you're trying to show, and especially the text on there. Yeah.
Yeah, the captions are harder to read. It looks cooler, but the captions are harder to read.
Yeah, so you have to choose
Style or
the
substance.
kids. Yeah, the kids do like the style over the substance for sure. So, so here's the actual window. So if I went back to my videos, I was also nervous about doing live web stuff when I didn't have control over the. So here's one that's like continue editing, so it's still got. But this one I would actually have to edit a copy if I want to do that. If I want to edit that one again, or I can get rid of it if I don't need it. And it shows you what. You probably wouldn't be as interested in the end of the year video as you might be the book trailer. So here's a Berlin, everybody read Berlin Boxing Club. So it has some really pretty, themes that are nice, and this one has a slow piano music track on it.
See, I like that it has these themes you can use on your own. It makes it look much
more professional.
More professional looking, and not just a bunch of slides or pictures kind of tossed together. The way I would probably do it just on the fly as a blank one.
Well, and for students who are so media savvy, they're not going to be impressed by much. It needs to look this good.
Yeah, the problem, I noticed that with a lot of the, a lot of the current students are used to really high quality video. And
exactly.
People have told me that, and it's like, I don't know how, it's hard to compete if you're a teacher or a librarian, and, you have to try to compete with somebody who spent, 6 months on a 30-second spot. It's like, I don't have that much time to put together even something like a book trailer. This one was quite a few hours just to make sure I had all the right period pictures in it, and that's actually Schmeling and Joe and boxing. So, but they do like the book trailers. The book trailers seem to be an effective way to sell them as much, kind of like an alternative to book talking, or something you could put on a web page to let them have access to it if you're not, in their classroom in front of them showing them the book, or somebody checks out my one copy of the book I want to talk about. I think they're handy for that. So I was going to try to maybe develop a few more of those for next year, so for the Gold and Silvers or whatever. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good idea. All right. So anybody have any questions, thoughts, ideas for using Animoto in your school or library?
What about sharing the videos between, say, schools or groups? Can people use your videos? Can you give them permission to do that?
Sure. Yeah, you can just share this link. If you click on this link, it'll just bring up a link. And that's the other thing I like about it is it really is hard to share video. They kind of, unless you post it somewhere, it's really hard for people to get to, and it's a little unwieldy to upload and download things. Where when you make them in Animoto, they all sit there, and then you can just link to that video page.
Cool.
So just copy that link out of there, and they don't even have to download it. They can just go on the website, and it'll play pretty nice once it's rendered.
Yeah, it's nice they don't have to download it. It's just there on the web. Yep.
Yeah, because I even around school, if somebody makes a big video, it's like, well, how do I get this to somebody? It's like I can't really mail it, and it's too big to mail, and I end up putting it on a flash drive and running it around school, my sneaker net.
You have any questions?
Well, I think that concludes this session, and we'll go ahead and break a little early for lunch.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll be back at 12:30.
Yep. Thank you very much, James.
All right. Thank you very much. That was fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully I wasn't stuttering too much.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
You did great.
All right. I haven't tried that. I'm used to having an audience and having to be able to wave and do things with my hands. It's really hard to do that. So All right, thank you.
I do that anyways, even when I'm alone.
All right, email me if you have any questions. I'd be happy to offer help or anything like that. And like I said, I think you'll have the presentation and the links inside the presentation to follow, so you can check out all the stuff.
Great, thank you.
Let me know. I'd be happy to help.
All right, thank you very much.
All righty.
All right, I'm going to take